I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. What do I do? Absolutely not. There's some things a man must protect at all costs. This may be, well, one of those things. Then again...
Susato, take down!
Yeah, seriously, Susato, take down! I also have a gun, and I'm going to shoot myself! This is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I should have to take my own life. Mr. Winnebeck, no! Alright, that's enough. We were here the whole time. Fuck. That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised in one of our dedicated emergency lines, so we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, eh? Oh, praise me, you're here at last! I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my very own establishment. This guy is amazing.
Hmm? This guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems you have the upper hand.
You already have a fucking coat on.
He wanted that coat. Right, you lot got something to explain it to you. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy. Petty? Mr. Winterbank was nearly met with his end. Yeah, by his own gun as far as I can tell. Oh dear. And the whole of Britain could meet its end if I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is the case, Inspector? Spare no detail, Gregson. Well, keep your secret safe with me. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you have to come with me down to the station.
Shake.
But of course, Inspector.
I've missed the Inspector.
Ah! He's getting away!
No, my fish and chips!
He danced away! Get after him, lads. Whistle the beat officer, too. Sir!
It's okay, I got my fish and
it's okay.
chips.
It's okay, my fish and chips were saved. There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently, so we fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters to brokers to let us know when there's trouble. Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a second. Very worried indeed. Now then, Mr. Permanently in mourning. Oh, yes? I'll be taking whatever that is of McDild's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh yes, of course. No, don't give it to him. It's mine. That is mine. I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to Mr. Gill that has been taken in as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. Just want to wrap my fingers around his throat, I do. And so we handed Mr. McGilden's disc over to Inspector Gregson, and we're summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street. We haven't even gotten to the murder. Spent like 2 hours doing that. Kitten. '15th of April, Baker Street. See, that's why I ain't grown-ups. All I do is feed you a pack of lies and take stuff away from you.
Hey, you still have the coat.
Oh, really, Mr. Straight? Tell me, is that overcoat keeping you warm? What? Oh my, surely you were given that. Yeah, the D let me keep it after I've looked daggers at him for long enough. He went through the pockets and he said, go on then, have it, before tell me a scarper. Always pays off giving people a look like you ate them. You ate them? You ate the bobbies?
I can't help feeling that is gonna get you into serious trouble one day. What I really wanted was that nice shiny disc of mine. Music box disc. But Mr. Windebake said it was practically worthless. I think I'm going to have another bash. Give him a long, hard stay. I think not, Miss Lestrade. We shan't hit the Windebakes again today. Why not? That's not fair. Can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now and taking a statement from Mr. Windebake. Like this mine. I had a ticket for this coat and it was in the coat's pocket. And there should be something else and all. That's what the rotten coat said, ain't it? Yes, he did mention something about another article, didn't he? Well, then that's mine too, whatever it is. Now she's really pushing her luck. Miss Lestrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day. Yeah, it's all your fault, Sholmes. So what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening? Eh? Iris would be delighted to cook, I'm sure, and I might entertain you with a monster violin recital. What?
Iris and
Gina. Yeah, them together.
That's so cute.
No, Tar, I already stole your stuff. Why would I come round your place, eh? Have you lost your air or something? She fucking fell over. Oh dear, she's gone. Having reviled on me quite unnecessarily, I might add.
Damn it, she took my violin!
She took my violin as well. I can't help but wondering. Perhaps she might turn up anyway. Interesting. I don't think once she's had a chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll just decide to come. Very well then. I'll inform Iris to set up a place for our potential guest at the dinner table this evening. And one more thing. I should be glad of your company later too. We do live with you, so... I believe I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you. Oh, how exciting. What is it? It's a violin. Should have to wait and see, Miss Susato. Until then, later. Okay. Oh, we were... we literally were right next door to it. Ah, Susie, Rudo, come in. Good afternoon, Iris. Thank you so much for breakfast this morning. Don't mention it. Goodness, look at the time left already. Busy as always. I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening. Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you? Ah, yes. After all, we have a special guest joining us. Guess who it is? Go on. Hey, you'll never guess. Look at those little eyes of hers shining. Oh dear, and it is awkward when you already know who the answer, isn't it? It's Ginny! Isn't that exciting? Oh, what a surprise! Yes, that's wonderful news. Wow, Iris seems overjoyed at the idea.
My girlfriend's coming in.
I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional. No! That does sound like fun. No, it doesn't! I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate, are you, Mr. Naruto? By the way, Miss Iris, what's Mr. Sholmes up to? Holy, oh, he's been locked out ever since he got back. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. I beg that you won't speak to me. Sorry? I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here. I don't know how to respond to that. I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everything. Yes, I see that.
He does have ADHD.
Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes, Hurley does. Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, don't they? Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are. What's the matter, Reno? You have such a funny look on your face. Oh, where's your dad? I know what it is. Why does girl live here with Mr. Shams, you're wondering, am I right? How? How did you... Oh, Reno, I can read you like a book. This girl is dangerous. Don't worry, you can ask me anything. I won't mind. Well, if that's the case... I want to examine this. I already did, okay. Mr. Sholmes. So, Mr. Sholmes, what are you so engrossed with? Did you not hear? I am not here. Of course you're not. I cannot think why the whole bed of the ocean is not one solid mass of oysters, so prolific as the creatures seem. He won't even turn around and look at me. It's best just to leave him alone when he's one of his moods like this. Yes, I can see that. Thinking about oysters and all that. I'm sure you've been wondering why it is that I live here with Hurley, haven't you? Well, it has crossed my mind. And that and where you're...
No, it's not on my phone.
What?
Hurley's thinking of oysters. You know what oysters make me think of?
Clams? What? What?
You never had an oyster before?
No.
And they're just kind of slippery and...
What?
Juicy and...
What are we talking about? Oysters? I hope. That and where are your real parents? My mommy and daddy aren't with me anymore. Mommy passed away when I was born, and around the same time my father. Well, he had to go to faraway land because of one of the cases he and Hurley were working on. Oh, wait a minute. Did you say he and Hurley? Yes. Daddy and Hurley were always solving mysterious cases together. She didn't mention that before. He wrote them all up in his diaries. That's what's in the metal chest. He wrote them all up in his diaries. That's what's in the metal chest over there. Really? He recorded them all? So, you mean it's true, Mr. Sholmes really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of his most taxing cases. Oh yeah, so I mean it's always nice to have one, isn't it? So Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father? Exactly. Hurley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest. Well, that only made me want to look even more, so I opened it up and found your father's memoirs. Yeah, and Hurley didn't even stop me, so I mean, so I asked Hurley, who wrote these? He nearly fell off his chair. Well, then he told me. That's when I found out that the author of all those accounts was my father. So Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner. That's interesting. I'm going to talk about Jenny. So by Jenny, you mean Miss Lestrade, the woman from the Gilded case 2 months ago, right? Yes, who also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Again. Although after that trial, I invited her back here and we had dinner together. And now we're the best of friends. Oh, hee. What a lovely tale. Yes, now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can. Oh? I chase after her down the back alleys. Interesting idea of friendship. And then I let her have the latest caliber smoke grenade I've developed. Oh. There's so many beautiful colors in the world. Ginny wants me to make a whole rainbow. I suppose this means you've let Mr. Strayed keep this smoke grenade launcher, have you? What are you talking about? No, I have it right here in my case. I've got bored of it anyway. Hurley always reacts the same way when I shoot him with it now. Poor Hurley. Oh, I can't wait for Jenny to arrive. It's been too long since she last came over. I'm so excited. Just hope she doesn't actually come. Or I hope she does actually come. I practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. So it came as quite a shock when Hurley told me he wasn't really my daddy, I mean. It must have done. I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age. Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh? Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say that his ways have rubbed off on me. There's some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes. Right. Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, actually. I always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told all you these thrilling stories. Oh no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he's solved a case, it all but vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he'd just solved. So the very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. Jesus. It's quite a shock for everyone. You can say that again. You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learned from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see.
Uh-oh.
That's what prompted me to study and study so I could earn a doctor as well. I heard it's his father, who went to some distant land and is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson. Brain blast! That's right, visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. And the man who, in the most bizarre of circumstances, lost his life just before we left Japan. It's weird, it's like it's all connected somehow. Miss Susato? Yes. Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time. I agree. Ah, my dear fellows! How good to see you!
Hello, Daddy.
Mr. Sholmes!
Daddy.
Why, then did you not make your presence known to me before?
Daddy.
Well, no matter now. So how the devil are you? We've been with you for the most of the day. Goodness, really? Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unscathed? My violin? Whatever you're talking about, dear madam. Oh, never mind that now. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows. Oh, another music box disc. No, not another disc, Miss Susato. This is the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence. Mr. McGilden's disc. What? Then, what's it doing here? I stole it! You know, at times, Mr. Naruto, I think that though I have an undeniable turn for the detection, I may well even be more adept at larceny. Oh, Hurley! That would be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. The second game is just us as the thieves. And Runu could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught. Right. Plus, Susie has such a beautiful handwriting, she could write all missing crime notifications. Persona 5 Royal. Yes, I'd be delighted.
Mr. Sato.
Mr. Sato, no, son. I'm just gonna pretend this conversation never happened, I think. Probably for the best. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to...
It's not the same disc.
Yeah, I know. I'm not an idiot. Quite correct. And in that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. Your own and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. You will humor me, my dear fellows.
Did you need to take a shower?
I will. When the scene is over. Cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. Just him in the background, just slathering caramel. Oh, we check it, whatever it is. I mean, yes, of course. Capitulate. It's all yours. This sticky disc covered in caramel. For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, you did, but I still don't understand. Was that precisely that moment I summoned my one and only friend into action. I covered the disc in caramel, handed it to the detective, and then the caramel stretched out, and when I was ready, I pulled back on it, and the disc came flying back to me. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars, like this.
Oh, it'll copy.
That's amazing. The disc and all the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft at making impressions, but resistant to melting. The result of a precisely controlled solution. How extraordinary. That's actually way more creative than I thought was going to happen. Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves very useful indeed. Now, if you'll excuse me. That hurt. Take a house key, for example. A simple press and its unique form is duplicated. It's actually how I got it to be the owner of this home, if you would believe me. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never without high sucrose nourishment. Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I was most curious to know what matter of music would issue from the disc when played. Well, now I'm curious about that. Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes. What music does the disc play? I don't know. No idea. None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not. Goodness, you don't know, Bruno? Inside a music box, there's a special metal piece called a cone. That's what produces the sound. Small protuberances pluck the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. The first music box is to be invented using a rotating cylinder with protuberances on it. But over time, a new type of player was produced, which uses discs such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe. Why exactly? Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as well, as a result. It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music even when no performer is present. I'm always present! It is the very success of the invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. We cannot play this VHS player. We cannot play this VHS cassette tape on this Blu-ray DVD box set player thing, whatever. As you imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. And we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There's no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. Ah, I see. So that's why. Naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe. Every single one? That's early for you, always taking things too far. But my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. Surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? That is why I've bought an acre in the countryside. That is certainly true in the worst case.
How much money do you have, Sherlock?
Too much. I shall have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? I need the attic room for music boxes. Magnus McGilded, not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGill had perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. All while Barrack von Zeeks watched. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows, still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred of evidence that remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in the trial, the newspaper is still claiming it remains an unsolved case.
God damn it, Anna.
The maker of the murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed. Well, it's time I start getting things ready for dinner, I think. Ginny will be here before long. Thank you, R.S. Oh, well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes, you may be right about that one. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windibank said before. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom, were his words, I believe. So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was. Oh yes, the idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Windibank's storeroom, gathering dust. My dear madam, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than bank's vault. And what about your Stradivarius, Curly? Was that safe and secure? Well, there may be the occasional mix-up, caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now. You have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley? Oh, it sounds so exciting, The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. How'd you know that? Ah! What's going on here? Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept throughout the room? Susie, what did you just say? You said The Hound of the Baskervilles. But how could you know the full title? Well, that's,
She may have saw it on the thing.
That's because Mr. Sato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course. But Bruno, The Hound of the Baskervilles has never been published. What? When I showed her the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. That's why I said he'd keep it safe until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see. So that's why the manuscript is at Windibank's. So that's why the manuscript is at Windibank's? Oh yeah, how could Susie here know its title? Well, Hurley, what's going on? What is it, Mr. Sholmes? It would appear our guest has arrived. Ah, I see. Well, I'm gonna stop it right there. We'll talk to Gina Lestrade next time on Side by Side Plays. Thank you for joining me. I'm Shikuquaza.
I'm White Boo.
And this has been The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We investigated a potential robbery, and that's what we did. We did it. We did dang done it.